Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, April 28th, week 5, day 2. All right, so to get started, I'm going to skip the whole PowerPoint today and just go straight into the assignment and kind of help you out. But nonetheless, the beginning is always still the same. You have a do now to do, so go ahead and go to Google Classroom, do a do now if you haven't already. The learning target is I am learning to close read an article. The success criteria is being able to change titles into questions, to be able to highlight in different colors important information, words that you don't know. And lastly, be able to summarize in 20 words or less. Okay, so let's get started. So once again, today's assignment is to close read an article and to do the worksheet that's on my right. So like always, the article is on my left, the worksheet's on my right. So we can see from the article is called Water Found on Temperate Planet Orbiting Distant Star, Super Earth. Okay. So because I kind of want to do this hand in hand with the worksheet and the article, I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill out like the basic parts of the worksheet. So one of the basics being the name. So let's all go ahead and write our name right now. I am Miss Mendez. Point. So I know a lot of you, when you were doing the worksheet last week, similar worksheet, similar format as last week, some of you wrote my name. Do not write my name, write your name. This is your document. Of course, the one I'm showing right now is my document. That's why it's my name. But when you're working on your document, it is your name, not mine. So just putting that out there. Period, write the period that you're in. I'm going to write period 2. The title of the article. So the title of the article, I'm just going to copy and paste. Just copy and paste the title of the article. You can write it if you want to. But let's make this simple. Just make sure everything fits in one line. Make it neat. Alright, so the title of the article, Water Found on Temperate Planet Orbiting Distant Star, the Super Earth. Alright, the source of the article. So where was this article obtained from? Well, if we look at the article, it says by Associated Press, adopted by New Zealand staff on 9/18/19, etc. So you can go ahead and let's go ahead and copy the word New Zealand. News ELA. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm just getting rid of the access lines. Okay. So News ELA. So bam, in like a minute we did 3 things. Alright, so let's read the direction. It says, read the article, step 1. Step 2, vocabulary research. Look through the article and select 5 words. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that so I know it's 5 words. And use context clues to determine the meaning of these words. Then use them in a sentence. You must select 5 vocabulary words even if you already know all the words. Review is beneficial. So let's say your vocabulary is up here. That's great. But still highlight words that you might not see often, or highlight words that you find interesting. So there shouldn't be an excuse of, oh, I knew everything. That's awesome, but still you have to do some sort of vocabulary. Practice those big words. Okay. So let's go to our article. Once again, the article is Water Found on Temperate Planet orbiting distant star super-Earth. All right. So Cape Canaveral, Florida. Scientists have discovered water at a planet outside our solar system that also has temperatures suitable for life. Ooh. It is the first planet ever discovered with both of those characteristics. Intriguing. All right. So remember closed reading? So closed reading, you're going to read the article once all the way through. Now to save some time, let's assume that I read the article once all the way through. Now you're going to go back to read the article for a second time. So the second time you're reading for a purpose. So the second time you're reading for what this article is about, which is basically water being found on another planet. Water and the right characteristics for life, which is kind of cool. So let's get started. Alright, so first things first, we have our second subtitle, 110 light years away. So remember, we always kind of want to convert our subtitles into questions. So maybe we could write, what is 110 light years away? So we could write that. You guys can also copy this question, or if you have another question, you could go ahead and write that question down. But I'm fine if you have this already there. Okay. So paragraph 1. So 2 research groups found water vapor in the atmosphere of a planet 110 light years away in the constellation Leo. Constellations are a group of stars that form patterns in the sky. A light year is the distance that light can travel in a year, or about 5.8 trillion miles. Wow. Light from our sun reaches Earth in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Stars and galaxies are so far away that their distance is measured in light years. Makes sense. If you're ever a Star Wars or any like space science fiction fan, you always hear them say, oh, that's so-and-so light years away. Okay. So let's go back to the first paragraph. So first things first, I'm gonna select a color to be my highlighter. I like blue. If you remember the video from last week, blue is going to signify words that I don't know, or words that I mostly don't use, or words I find intriguing. So, water vapor. I don't know what water vapor is. So I like the word water vapor. So I'm going to highlight water vapor. Light years. Yeah, light years. Not in my vocabulary. I don't use that often. Away in the constellation Leo. Constellation. What is that? Big words. Big words. Oh, constellation. All right. Constellation. Oh man, like right there, it tells me right there what constellation is. Constellations are a group of stars that form patterns in the sky. So maybe because I didn't know what constellation was before, I would like to highlight what is constellation. So I'm actually not going to highlight just because I want to leave the highlighted yellow for like very important information. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and underline it. Constellations are groups of stars that form patterns in the sky. A light year, oh man, I'm on a roll. A light year, that's nice. That's the second vocabulary word that I highlighted. Is a distance that light can travel in a year, or about 5.8 trillion miles. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that. Light from our sun reaches the Earth in 8.8 minutes and 20 seconds. And stars and galaxies are so far away that they are measured in light years. So now we know why the term light year is important, and what we use that for is to measure the distance from one star to a planet or any other location. Alright, so I'm going to stop there for modeling what you're supposed to do. So you highlight in one color any unknown words or intriguing words, like fascinating words that you find in the article. And you can underline it. Like for me, I was lucky enough and I got 2 vocabulary words defined right there in that one paragraph. So I just underlined the definition and I highlighted in a different color important informations. Okay, so let us go to our worksheet. So right off the bat, which word did you choose? I have water vapor, I have light year, and I have constellation. Alright, I'm just going to move it over to make it prettier. I said pretty. Okay, so definition. Lucky for me. Well, actually not so lucky because we don't have one for water vapor. For water vapor, if you remember from yesterday's lesson, we went over it. The definition of water vapor is water in its gaseous form. So it's form of gas, whose particles, I should say atoms, whose atoms are freely moving in the environment or in the air. So if you remember from yesterday, water vapor, those particles are moving back and forth, bumping to each other, etc. Alright, sentence. If you boil water, it will turn into water vapor. Bam. Yep, simple. So I did the word, I did the definition, and I did the sentence. Light year, I would have done the same. Light year, the definition, distance that light can travel in a year, or about 5.8 trillion miles. And then a sentence. Groot from Guardian of the Galaxies traveled light years from planet to planet. I don't know. Be creative. Be funny about it if you want to use Marvel or any other reference. Alright, so let's move on. Let's have this constellation wrong. Alright, so we did number 1, we read the article. We did number 2, we highlighted words. Lucky for me, I found 3 words already in just the first paragraph, so I can't imagine how many more words there are in the rest of the article. And then number 3, number 3 is just saying to highlight. Okay, so let's move down to that last part of the worksheet, 20-word gist. So 20-word gist is kind of just getting the idea. So what is the article about? So let's say, what you do have, I should tell you this. If you go all the way to the last page, page 5 in this case, there is a quiz. So you do have to answer these 4 questions on top of doing the worksheet. I almost forgot. Yeah, so you do have to answer these 4 questions. You can highlight the response. So if you think for number 1 is A, just go ahead and highlight your response, the one you think is right. Only highlight 1 unless it asks for more than 1. Alright. So we'll go to the quiz. Alright, so let's say your friend texts you and say like, oh man, I didn't get to read the article. Can you tell me what's this article about in 20 words or less? Well, bam, you already have it because of the worksheet. You're going to write a summary about this whole article. What is this whole article about in 20 words or less? So in this article, it's about da da da.